Hello and welcome to another installment of Let's Play Civilization 4 Realism Invictus. This is the Asharid Het, and in our last installment we had just gotten our great artist here and had recently settled Vasteros to acquire this salt. And one of the commenters, Zap, he suggested a different city placement, or at least wouldn't have settled right here. From what I could tell, it sounds like he preferred possibly even, well, he didn't want me to settle inland, but because of this barbarian city, none of these tiles would be available. The only other option would be to settle away from the limestone, where these Polish archers are camped would actually be the closest coastal spot I could settle without having to take this city. It was most important to get the limestone. I would have settled on the coast if possible, but because of the 2-tile away rule, that wouldn't have been possible otherwise. Unless they've made a change from that rule in the mod, and I don't think they did, you aren't able to settle within 2 tiles of another city. So just to clarify my reasoning a little bit on that, I am aware that precluding access to the shipyards, etc., all of the lighthouse and the water coastal city infrastructure, I can't build that unless I'm coastal. So even though I have this pearl resource, I'm not going to be able to make it self-sufficient in terms of food. But the only other option would have been to go attack this Barb city, which that would have been a pretty decent military investment given the city defensive capabilities of archers and the fact that they have 3 of them there. So if I've missed something, Zap or anyone else, please clarify, but I just wanted to comment on that a little bit more extensively than in the YouTube comment section itself. So I was considering this already. It seems like it's the best move, but he also suggested building the Nefertiti bust in this city for the 10 culture per turn, which is pretty considerable, but more so the +1 food to the pagan temples, which we've really beefed these up, and it's my opinion that they are a pretty, they can be a pretty potent gambit in the early game. They have a lot of stackable bonuses, and they can blend with the state religion as long as your actual religious civic is paganism. And we may not have enough food to really ever run into a major problem with happiness, but in the mid-game, once we can get windmills on all these hills and our farms start becoming more productive, then we might, in which case by around the time of critical thought, if not shortly afterwards, when free religion is enabled, I'll probably switch to that then. But given how much we've invested in these pagan temples, it makes the most sense, I think, to stay in this civic until the Renaissance. So I'll send the artist there. We'll build the Nefertiti bust for that food bonus, and then that should pretty well guarantee possession of the salt, at least in terms of culture. He also said he would have attacked Tikal. I thought about that, but in the last game I played as Germany on Monarch, I actually was doing quite well until the Renaissance. I attacked many of my neighbors. I believe my city placement was pretty good overall, although I ended up conquering more cities than I built, and I was in possession of about half of the continent, but because of that tech cost marginal increase per city, I really ground to a halt research-wise, even though I had libraries, scientists, commerce tiles, and my neighbor got to Napoleonic era units, and I was still in the late medieval world. I got dowed, and there was really no way to stop that. I effectively lost. So I am deliberately trying to cap expansion for the time being. So I had mentioned it a little bit previously, but I want to try to develop domestically until maybe the Middle Ages or so. As situations influence things, I might modify that, but And given how little food we have, that may not be as feasible as I originally thought. But anyway, the idea is not to never attack, but I do kind of want to turtle for the next couple of eras and see how that goes. But if you or anyone else sees a better short-term opportunity for something, please do suggest it. I'm just taking this general approach, candidly. And yeah, speaking of that, we finally ran out of the money, so our research rate is going to have to start stalling. We're not far from currency, which is a tech in fact, we have both of the prerequisite techs for it, good. And we're getting tolls and taxes. You definitely want to have currency by the time you hit your classical era crash if you are prone to Rexing the way that I kind of am in Beyond the Sword. That is sort of my playstyle. I prefer building peacefully settling rather aggressively in the classical world, basically redlining an economic crash and then recovering in the early game rather than a slow and steady. I'm also not a big fan of rushes. Now, if I have like horses or copper in my BFC and I'm next to a weak neighbor who's close, I realize that that's an excellent opportunity to rush, and I'm not against that strategy. I just typically don't look for it. I actually like medieval war, in Beyond the Sword at least. The way that the units have been rewritten in this mod, I still am not totally familiar with, or even really intuitively familiar with a lot of the changes, but I kind of liked medieval war in Beyond the Sword, or to a lesser extent war with riflemen. So, a peaceful expansion, build up through Renaissance, and then attack someone with cannons and rifles. That was kind of the preferred method. However, recently I've gotten more and more into the modern era. Seems that the potential of that era is rather great, even though conventionally you would think the game's pretty much over at that point. You can really turn things around in very short order with the units and technologies available to you. So, plus I'd mentioned before that each era kind of has its own feel. That level of tension and instability in the modern era that has kind of grown on me. I find it fun. So anyway, for our purposes in this game, I am going to try to play somewhat defensively for a little while now that we have the cities that we want. Which in the meantime means going for the Hanging Gardens. However, he mentioned I had built these walls before getting masonry materials, which entails a bit of a hammer waste, because if you have masonry materials, it builds faster. I could have saved hammer investment that way. I'm too far in to turn around now, just 5 turns. And this city is admittedly fairly vulnerable. But for a wonder, especially when we've already built 3, I don't want to waste anything. And I don't think anyone even has urban planning yet still. Yeah, no one else does. So we can afford to wait until we get the masonry materials. In fact, how expensive is the stone cutter? 200? Yeah, that's not very much. I do think you need the input, both inputs to build it, because it's not available yet. It is at this rate going to take quite a while to get that improved. And I don't believe we even have a trade connection at all to this city yet. We don't. So we're looking at a little bit of time on that, but that's okay. Considering the I mean, that's an additional 3 food, 4 food per city when you count the Nefertiti bust, just passively. That will help us massively. So it's worth going for. Just another quick glance at diplomacy. Still no war declarations. Let me just make sure existing rivalries remain. Yep. I don't think this was both of them previously. Annoyed. Yeah, the Celts I think are going to be public enemy number 1 here. Even though relations are bilateral, you can be pleased and they can be cautious, for instance, but the Celts here, being Hindu, are alone, as are the Poles, being Zoroastrian. But Judaism, not only is it 3 civs, but the 2 score leaders are Jewish, so that's worth bearing in mind. Tech-wise, we're really not behind, even though at this rate we will be. You can see, basically, it's these religious texts that we haven't gone for, which they can't research anything that I can see which is especially advanced, so we're probably fine for the time being. I do need to get some cottages built somewhere. This city, once it gets hooked up, might be the place to do that. Cottages take a while to reach maturity, but getting them early is important for that very reason. I'll probably build a worker next, because this city still can't grow and it can put one out pretty quickly, and we're at a point where demand for that's going to be a little higher. And after these walls, probably another horseman, yeah. And that would be fairly close to when we grow to level 4. Yeah, and then we can work one more tile and stagnate at 4 until hanging. Well, no, we'll have the Nefertiti bust, so it won't be stagnant. This quarry doesn't really provide that much commerce. I thought it would. So yeah, I'll probably build one cottage in Uppsala here and start working it once we grow. It's not much on its own, but getting it early is important for that reason. We are out of money, so we're going to have to scale this down. Wow, that didn't really even make a difference. Just one turn. Okay. Alright, let's keep going. Yeah, another thing that's interesting is your power score here, represented by this number, and then also the graph, is a function of many things. It's really, interestingly, kind of an aggregate score of both actual and potential military power. Because in addition to your units, which each unit has its own value that it adds to that, military infrastructure like walls and barracks contribute to this score, but so does the amount of land you control in your population. And in a real military sense in the game, even land area is significant because it reduces enemy movement. And in strategic terms, that does have a significant value. Of course, they have to give it some arbitrary number, but for those who may be curious, the military score is not a mere sum of units. It is actually a fairly dynamic approximation of a multitude of factors. So building walls here should increase our score the same way as building another unit, although not necessarily to the same amount. Okay, slave revolt. I'm gonna block my archer. Yeah, 80%. They're on a hill, which gives them a 25% bonus. And the Nordic horseman, being charge mounted, it has a bonus against recon and siege, but not melee. Now, I don't think every light horseman... Actually, yes, I think light cavalry does always have that. If it's like medium cavalry, though, it should have a bonus. No, okay, light cavalry does not have a melee bonus, but medium cavalry does. So we might actually need a different unit to combat. Yeah, even the chariot, which has lower strength, does have a bonus against melee. Yep, 50%. So really the main point for you as the player with these slave revolts is to gather experience. I don't... Well, the chariot upgrades to medium cavalry, so yeah, giving this unit experience and the fact that he has better odds. Yeah, I'll do it this way. So that was 83 or 4%. Okay. Yeah, 1% separatism. You know what? Let's just go ahead and put the archer here instead, and then guard the gold mine or something with this cavalry. Alright, faithful spy. Now you will explore Poland for me. Oh, are you serious? Someone founded Nefertiti bust while he was in transit. That is unfortunate. Wow. See if I can find that. Yeah, it'll be listed here if nowhere else. Yep. So the Maya built it in Kalakmul. That's annoying. Okay, well, that's why you can't put all your eggs in one basket. I'm glad he didn't do that in his capital, though, because then he would have had the 10 culture here. Good news is we can at least match the 10 culture. And some of these other great works are still good. 10 defense. That's not very good, actually. Just 10% until a medieval tech. Eh. Gate of the Sun. Yep, I'm afraid the best one was taken. Mask of Agamemnon might be best for an extra culture. Church architecture is... I mean, if we were really beelining for it, it would still take probably about 197 turns or so because of the way that the speed of research would accelerate, but that's annoying. Yep, Mask of Agamemnon, because we already have a pagan temple in every city, and that way for another 200 turns or so, we'll have another culture. And that's when you have that tech, not anyone, so I could deliberately delay getting that, especially if I didn't care about the bonuses that it confers. Conversely, I could just put in the Great Artist, and it would generate 8 for the rest of the game and never expire, plus 2 money. Nah, I'll go for Agamemnon, especially if we get a cool piece of art that it displays. Fun fact on the Mask of Agamemnon, there's actually a scholarly speculation. I studied history in college, and the way that this mustache is curled at the edges and upturned is actually reminiscent of Kaiser Wilhelm II. So at the time that this was discovered and put in the Berlin Museum by Heinrich Schlieffen, there is speculation that it was tampered with to make the Mycenaeans appear more Germanic, or rather vice versa, because it was a valuable cultural artifact. There is I wouldn't say conspiracy, a hypothesis that this mustache was an embellishment for that reason, which I find to be pretty interesting. Okay, Mask of Agamemnon. So now our cultural output is 15. He's probably not going to match that in his capital. In fact, I mean, he has the palace. I have V selected as my record key, so I gotta be careful not to spell anything that uses that and deselect the recording. Wow, that's kind of cool. They have a soccer stadium. Or football, excuse me, I am an American. Okay, yeah, he doesn't have anything, I don't think, that would give him abnormal amounts of culture, but we can see it's not one of the top 5 cities, Palenque. Generally, you can tell from the animation if they have any special buildings, but actually, these are so stylistically revised that it's not always easy to tell. I think he's got a warehouse here. But yeah, I don't think his capital, especially it being this far away while it's at RBFC, is... In fact, he certainly can't compete for this tile, unless he has obscene amounts of culture. Because he's not even influencing it until it's within the natural range of his city. And since he's had 2 pops, then he's at the 3rd tier. And the 4th tier, which we're coming at, is 3,000 total. So until he gets to 3,000 culture, he's not even going to be putting anything into this tile. I keep talking about this salt like it's really that important, but it's not really that big of a deal. It's just a 1 health and an epidemic reduction, but it is also a trading chip for people who don't have it. That's kind of nice. Matter of fact, I don't think it has any other utility throughout the game. It's just that. Oh, you can literally produce it in the late game. That's cool. I didn't know that. Alright. Moving on then. God, it really irritates me that they got the Nefertiti bust. I wanted that food. Okay. Yeah, we have the 3rd most cultural output. However, the runner-up is Pakal here. No thanks to that Nefertiti bust that he just put in this city, but whatever. Okay. Krakow. Alright. Let me check the Chariot's promotion tree. Wait, what kind of chariot is this? Nordic? Okay. Of course it is. Yeah, so it can take land combat and get all of these bonuses. I'll probably try to collect as many of these as I can. In fact, I think land tactics, I think I said land combat, my bad. Land tactics is probably the strongest choice, honestly, because unless you're a cavalry unit and you want to take flanking to get up to blitz where you can attack multiple times, the combat tree, I don't know, I just don't see... Well, oh yeah, right, you can get blitz from combat, never mind. I don't know, I still kind of think that land tactics is just objectively better, but we'll see if I'm wrong. I'm not the best player, of course. Okay, alright. You people will have the protection of walls in 1 turn. Alright, much better. I'll be pretty upset though if we also don't make it to Hanging Gardens. Unless there's another civ we don't know of, and I don't think there can be. I don't think Perfect Mongoose adds any, and 7 should be default. Well, we have 8 actually, so never mind. I don't know. Anyway, no one still has urban planning, so...
In this world, nothing can be said to be certain, except death and taxes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really know what kind of geographic feature this is supposed to be, just because we have Pangea set to split, so this might be the quote-unquote Pangea, and then there's some, like, New World strip over here. Mark my words and we'll see if that's true. Okay, so yeah, we're about to have 17.6 culture per turn here. That's nice. We do have some nice text that the AI doesn't, and while we're a politician and it would be expensive and difficult for them to steal, they'll definitely try it. I like to get spies, one in each city early on, so I'm going to go ahead and invest in another one here. Or, well, yeah, I'm definitely not going to make that mistake with walls twice. Okay. Seems like we actually have gotten a decent amount done for it being barely into the first millennium here. 4 cities, 3 wonders, pretty good tech. See if we can keep it up. Yeah. Okay, cool. He'll give us pigs, which should, if we had a smokehouse, alleviate the unhealthiness. Yeah, I did build a storyteller circle. You can see that here. Ooh, that's kind of cool. +2 espionage to walls. This smokehouse has probably already been discontinued, I bet. Well, that doesn't really make sense. I don't think it ever gets discontinued. Yeah, why can't I see that here? We don't already have it. Oh, here it is. I just didn't recognize the icon. Yeah, if we had one, that would be another health, but oh well. Alright, this road is finally done. So now marble is hooked up. I like the variety of buildings that exist. It felt like earlier you basically just needed a granary and a courthouse for the most part. But now, you know, there really is a wide range of buildings and you need a lot of them overall just to succeed in the first place. Okay. Whoops, another mistake. This border pop happened a while ago and we had this boat ready to go. Let's go speed things up here. Now, I'm pretty sure the logical answer to this is yes, but pretty soon we'll be able to build paved roads. If you have a regular road as opposed to a cart path underneath, the construction time for the paved road should be less. I'm going to gamble on that and build the regular road anyway, but anyone watching, help me keep an eye on that if you would. Yeah, that was stupid. I wish I didn't forget about that boat. Okay, because now we can be growing much faster. People will know what it's like not to have to scavenge for berries and nuts in the forest for the first time in their history. Turns to our next pop, and then we'll start putting culture here. And if we beat him to his pop, and we almost certainly will, then he won't be able to put anything into the salt until he takes these tiles. Well, actually not true, until he gets his pop anyway, and there's a hidden layer of Maya cultural range exuding from the city. Okay, now we have 2, so we can get the quarry built in 4 turns. I also like how you need 2 limestone for masonry materials, and that masonry materials are a bonus which would be very circumstantial. Like, you could think of ancient Rome was unique and spectacular for its masonry and for its roads, but that was not typical of ancient civilization, so it's kind of a rare gem to acquire, so to speak. You sort of have to go out of your way to get 2 limestone, but when you have it, it's rather cool. Paved roads look nice too on the map. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and get the smokehouse. I have a decent little stack of cavalry here. That's not going to repel anything major, but and yeah, these light cav units don't have a bonus against slaves, so that's unfortunately possibly a problem if we have a large slave revolt. Once I get to stirrup, I think I'll be able to use melee killing horses. Nope, stirrup just unlocks a stable. It's armor crafting. Politics. Do we have politics yet? Nope, but it's not too far away. Yeah, that may not be a bad choice to go for next. I'll get currency at least first. So we can make good on all these luxuries we've painstakingly acquired with markets. But, yeah, a good stack of cavalry with medium and light will go a long way. Repelling invasions, defeating revolts, farming EXP all the same. I'll probably go for that next. Because the grand idea is to build up domestically, and that's going to mean a lot of slow development through the medieval era. And a really good fat stack of horsemen of various types will probably facilitate that. Okay, unsettled hinterland here. And I think we're blocked out by these mountains. Yep, so I'm going to go there. Alright, finally built the quarry, and with 2 workers the road shouldn't take too long. Hopefully that'll coincide with the construction of walls in Stockholm. I did it again, I should have waited. Oh well. Yeah, 7 turns. We'll get that hooked up, and then we can build a stone cutter. New worst enemy. Yeah, maybe getting early walls isn't a bad idea anyway. You really never know when you're going to get randomly attacked. Or when a huge slave revolt just comes out of nowhere 2 squares from your capital. Losing your capital to slaves really sucks. It has happened to me. Admittedly earlier on, but still. Okay, now they're connected, so there's another 2 commerce per turn from the trade route. Get the wine hooked up. Now wine, as far as I know, okay, yeah, it needs the tavern, not the market, which we just researched tolls and taxes, so we'll be able to build. That was a pretty good instance of coincidental timing. Yeah, granary. Well, granary until this road is built at least. Yep, they're at their health cap, so this is a smart choice. Okay, we're going to put a spy in our capital. Yeah, if you don't know, having a spy in your city, or on a tile improvement for instance, significantly reduces the chance that an enemy spy will be able to complete a mission there. So to like sabotage production or steal a tech or whatever. You definitely want to have at some point, sooner rather than later, spies in all of your cities, so that there's not a weak point where the AI can come in and cheaply perform missions against you. Okay, yay, they are not sick anymore. They still have a barely positive epidemic chance, but 4 pop isn't too bad. I'll actually build 1 more worker, and that'll give us 1 per city. Not ideal, but you know what? The demand for them might be a little lower anymore, so... Oh, I'm stupid. We have to build 2 roads, duh, to get it connected to the network overall. So yeah, following through with this granary is not a bad move. Seven turns, yep, and it'll coincide exactly. I've been vying for this salt the whole time, and it's just getting neglected over here. Sorry, salt. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So now the AI knows... Wait a minute, how are we still... It's weird, it seems like we're at the same health. Whatever. The AI is pretty shrewd about deals. They don't... If they think you're benefiting too much, they'll cancel them. So it probably was aware that I just built the smokehouse here and knew that I was getting the bonus from pigs, for instance.
A common mistake that people make when trying to design something completely foolproof is to underestimate the ingenuity of complete fools.
Yeah, some of these commerce multipliers are interesting because they come fairly early, and the one from tolls and taxes was only 15%. But this early, you're not really, with the exception of having a gold mine or something like we do, you're not really in possession of enough commerce for 15% to amount to very much, but later on in the game that would matter. I guess if you play your cards well with trade routes, you would be, but I find that a little curious. Alright. Oh, you need this to build paved roads in the first place. Interesting, I didn't know that. Or I didn't realize it. Yep, there you go next. Water pump. It is still a classical tech, it's just expensive. Yeah, but for us it's essential. Okay. Alright, now we can build a stonecutter. And they can work on a cottage here. Wow, that actually is going to take a while. Oh well, we still need it. There's not really a better city to build that either. Unfortunately, Stockholm has the highest commerce. Or, hammers, excuse me. I was distracted by our impending cottage construction project. Uh-oh, someone else's slaves decided to waltz in. They'll move into one of these savannas next. See, for instance, if we didn't have these horses, their odds of taking this city are, if not a majority, still significant. We only have one archer here. And they don't even have to be your slave revolt. That could happen here, and they could just wander down to us. I thought they were programmed to attack the closest city, but it appears not. And they might have some kind of rudimentary programming to avoid AI units or something, or your own. But yeah, in any case, that's why it's really, really important, even if you're not running slavery, because the AI definitely will, to have a mobile defense force. And that's one reason that roads, paved roads especially, can be so good, is being able to channel units to and fro, especially if you don't have horses. Because even melee units can move around pretty fast that way. I might even flirt with the idea of putting a scientist here and getting rid of... Yeah, I don't know, that would entail a pretty decent hammer cost. But the points would be nice, and it's more culture. Yeah, it might be a noob decision, but I will build a library there. Okay, and then we will improve the salt. Yeah, 99.33. Say goodnight. I used to play with quick combat on. There's another YouTuber, and he's fairly active on the forums, the Me and Team, and a long time ago I used to watch his Let's Plays, and he always kind of had an emphasis on playing faster, economizing your time, and while I appreciate that and the optimization of the game from a strategic standpoint, I also enjoy the immersion of it. So and it was frustrating sometimes when I had quick combat on defense, if you got Dowed and attacked in the same turn, and you lost a lot of units or a city was taken, it all just happens instantly. I like to be able to see what happened incrementally. So if I've declared a war or something, sometimes I'll turn quick combat offense on, but defense I basically always want to see exactly what's happening. And that's just a playstyle difference, I suppose. Because you can go and read the combat log, but this honestly is a little bit that is a little bit less transparent than seeing each combat take place. Okay, so since we took land tactics, we have the option for a flat 25% bonus against any of these categories. I'm easily going to choose melee because slaves are melee units until Renaissance when they become gunpowder, and a lot stronger overall. So this chariot, especially once we get armor plating or armor crafting and can upgrade it to medium cavalry, will probably be our primary slave killer, as I mentioned earlier when we originally built it. Same thing with these light cav, because with land tactics I can promote them to the melee bonus next, and they'll be pretty good at killing revolts themselves. Wow, 30 turns. So I guess the desert didn't make a difference. That is a really long time, wow. See, destroying a tile improvement, which you can do with spies, I guess it's a pretty powerful mission. Might be a bit loud for you guys. Okay, completed the library here. I'll sacrifice 4 turns of growth to get this scientist right away, because that means in 150 turns, at this rate, this city, as long as we keep it, is guaranteed to get a great scientist, because there are no other input great people points, and that gives us a pretty good shot, especially as early as it is, at these classical works of science, and I would definitely like to get at least one of them. Yeah, it's a pretty easy choice. Oh, he's friendly now. Cool. Hey, will you give me 60 gold so I can get this quickly? Cool. Well, that only saves us 1 turn, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, 2 turns doesn't matter. I'll just hold the money. Man, this is a good spy. He hasn't been caught yet. Knock, knock. Until windmills, man, this city is screwed. Yeah, let's work these pearls. At least, for the commerce. We've already got the scientists in our eastern city, so... Okay, fine, slave market it is. With water pump, we'll be able to slave farm these plains. It's not going to be great, but it is something. And we finally do have workers to build them. Alright, I think that is as far as that spy can go. As far as any melee unit can go until someone wants to load them onto a boat. Yep. Yep, alright, cool. So now we'll have the population info of every city we revealed. Let's go back down here, actually. I think these barbed cities were founded since we were here last. Alright, level 2. None of our cities are level 1 anymore, hooray. We are stronger than him, he'll probably take a demand. Yep, okay. He's already annoyed anyway, or about to be. The false religion sway would probably only grow. Alright, cottage complete. Yeah, let's just work that cottage. In time, that'll pay dividends. Ah, we don't have the stonecutter yet. I thought we did. Let's separate these workers now. There's no need for them to be combined. It might be a little bit inefficient, but I'll just wait here and then start building paved road in 3 turns here. Likewise from this copper mine, we'll go west. Yep, skip your turn too. Alright, now we have masonry materials. So, hanging gardens it is. You build a straight line of paved road. You build a straight line of paved road. You build a straight line of paved road. And that is actually going to wrap it up for now. I am out of time for the time being, but we got our masonry materials, our worker production ramped up, we have a scientist worked here, got a cottage built, so unfortunately we didn't get the bust of Nefertiti. That would have been nice, but decent experience upgrade on our horsemen. It looks like we're getting up on our feet. The thing to keep an eye on now is a random AI attack, because that can totally happen. I definitely know how that is when you start having fun and, ooh, I'll build this building next, ooh, I'll build this building next, and then suddenly, and you get attacked, and then that's very disappointing, and I do not want that to happen, so need to be cautious with this domestic improvement track we're on, but so far it seems to have gone well. Zap or anyone else following along who has ideas or suggestions, please feel free to offer them. I'll of course do a little more thinking off screen, and I'll probably get another video up tomorrow or the next day, but that being said, in any case, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.